Hey everyone, my name is Albie and today we have another performance sneaker review with me. This is where I take a sneaker, wear it for a whole month, and give it a grade from 1 to 10 based on 5 categories: the looks, the durability, the availability, the versatility, and of course, last but not least, the comfort, because comfort over everything. And this is actually a sneaker that I think might dethrone my king of comfort, my best sneaker so far on these performance reviews, the Nike Vomero 5, because this sneaker is not only the latest version of the Vomero line, but this is also the plus edition of the latest version. So if you like this type of content, leave a like on this video. That's what like button's for, and I hope you consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help a lot. Please and thank you. So can the new kid on the block dethrone the OG king of comfort, the Nike Vomero 5? Let's find out now in my Nike Vomero 18 Plus performance review. So first of all, let's start with the looks. This is where I consider if the sneaker can be styled universally. Off the bat, the sneaker looks really cool. I was super attracted to the silhouette of the sneaker. The downside to it, I think personally, is that it's stuck in that very sporty runny look. Of course, it is a running sneaker. That's definitely what it's gonna look like. But it's always been plus points for me if you could wear the sneaker on the red carpet or on the streets, or in this case, the racetrack. Well, I guess you could technically run on the streets, but anyways, you know what I mean. The thing is with the Nike Vomero 18s is it feels like you're stuck in the more athleisure, or at most like the tech wear type of style with this sneaker. I think specifically for this colorway, it's just the pop of color is too much of a sporty pop of color. It's very clean up top, but when half the sneaker is basically hyper crimson, it's really hard to kind of blend it into something very luxurious or, you know, formal in a sense. My go-to is always, can I kind of pull this off in a suit? Jordan 11s, you could kind of pull off in a suit. The Nike Vomero 5s, you can kind of pull off in a suit, especially for the Vast Gray colorway. This specific colorway, you can't really do that. It's just too out of place. It's too futuristic. It's too sporty. I think if you were to wear the light ore colorway, which is the second colorway that I really wanted, you might be able to pull it off somehow, because since that whole sneaker is a light ore tan colorway, and if you look at the other colorways for the silhouette, black is a little too plain. You kind of lose the allure of the Vomero 18s, and then of course the hyper crimson and the orange pulse colorway is just too bright. Maybe the orange pulse, you can have an argument of like having like a clean suit and then just bam, like a flash of color. Again, I say this all the time in these performance reviews. I am not one who is into fashion or has a commendable fashion sense whatsoever. This is just my opinion, of course, with everything here. But because of these said opinions, I think that the looks of the Vomero 18s, specifically the Vomero 18 Plus in the hyper crimson white colorway, deserve an 8 out of 10. Next up, we have the versatility. And even though it is meant to be a running shoe, it can definitely be an everyday shoe. It felt great while I was driving. I didn't have the same pinching problem as I had with the Kayano 14s. I've gone on long walks with them, quick trips to the mall. I brought them to the gym. So I've practically worn them in every situation that I would in my daily life. But it's not great in rain because of its breathability, which I'll get into more in the comfort category. Because you can't wear it in the rain. I mean, you probably can. You're just gonna get your socks soaking wet, especially if you like to run in all weather. When you're in the gym, I don't recommend them, of course, for your compound movements like the squat or the deadlift, maybe not even the leg press, because this shoe is super squishy. I did love them when I did jump rope. Of course, if you're doing upper body, they're just great to have on. You do a quick warm up on the treadmill, you go into your upper body workout, and then you end with some cardio. These guys are great, of course. If you do plyometrics, if you're doing a lot of dynamic movement, I can highly recommend these because they're super bouncy, super responsive. Again, if you're doing deadlifts or squats like I tried them on, they're just a little too squishy for you to be able to produce the proper amount of power or stability because of how squishy they are. So I don't recommend them for those. Hence the -2 in the score, giving them an 8 out of 10 once again. Next off, you have the durability, and this is probably the lowest score that I'm gonna give, which is a 7 out of 10. So when I talk about durability, it's not only the materials used for the sneaker, but you know, how long they can last looking like they're dead stock before you can call them beaters, or before there's any noticeable damage to the said sneaker. Again, it's kind of not fair because it's a white sneaker, but if it were easy to clean, though, that would be plus points. But for these guys, the upper, like I mentioned, is a very durable yarn, which is great, but at the same time, it traps a lot of dirt very easily. I literally stepped out into the airport accidentally touched something. I don't know what, if it was like the wheel of the cart or just like the curb or something, and instantly got a stain that just never went away. I tried my hardest. I used crepe wipes. I tried brushing it at the hotel with soap and water. It just wouldn't go away. So that stain's probably gonna be there forever unless I get it professionally cleaned, which I think I'm gonna do. And also the paint, just the paint around the zoom, which I know is because it's like a very active part of the sneaker. Even before I was running in it, it already developed cracks and like dents and, you know, wrinkles in the outsole or the midsole, which already takes away from the fact that it'll look brand new. And I understand that, you know, sneakers are meant to be run in or sneakers are meant to be worn, but you know, I still like it to look clean when I want it to look clean, right? And it's just harder to make it look clean when it looks like beat and dead up. But again, I digress. It might not be a fair score because it's a running sneaker, but for someone like me who I don't really run that often, and if I do run, it's not in the rain or in mud and dirt. I run the same roads that I always do, and if I just brush up on something and it catches dirt, that's gonna kind of annoy me, especially if I want to wear these out to like the mall or whatever, right? I don't want to look clean and have like dirty ass sneakers, which these inevitably will be if I continue to run in these. So I think 7 is a fair score. That might be controversial to you guys, especially because it's a sneaker, but you know, again, it's just my opinion. Second to the last is the availability, and I was actually very surprised with these. So if we were talking about the icon version or the base model of the Vomero 18, score will be a lot lower because those were sold out in every size. But these guys, actually, if you go on the Nike website right now, there are a good amount of stock in all colorways except for my specific size, the size 13. And you don't go bigger than a 13, which is a problem that I'll get to in a bit. Wait a bit before copying because I have something to share. If you have big feet like me, you're kind of tough out of luck because if you didn't get into the pre-order like I did, I don't think they're gonna restock anytime soon. Maybe they will, which will be great. But still, the fact that it's not available right now when all the other sizes are available, I don't see Nike kind of just restocking big sizes unless they make a wide version, which I'm gonna kind of be pissed about. And again, I'll get into the next category. But for now, we're sticking with an 8. Last but not least, this is where I was kind of thinking that these will surpass the Nike Vomero 5s, and this is the comfort. Of course, does the sneaker feel good on foot in any case, any situation? And this is something I wish I knew before I made not only this performance review, but also my sneaker review, because 13 is the biggest size. And a lot of people have been saying that Nike has been doing well making their toe boxes wider because Nike is notorious for making narrow shoes. Even though this is a size 13 and I have wide feet, I think I would still recommend going 0.5 up a size if it were available, or even have a full size up, because this toe box is still fairly narrow. Of course, compared to sneakers like, off the top of my head, the React 87s or I believe Zoom Flies are a very narrow sneaker. Those ones were definitely narrow when I tried them on personally. These guys, my foot is in, but I should have done this first. If I take the outsole and I were to step on it, man, why did I do this first? Pardon my big ass feet. There's a whole inch. So I still think in my heart of hearts I'm a 12, but off to the side, it's barely on there. It's barely on there. So with the upper squishing it, sure it fits, but you don't want your feet to be squished. I'm sorry for the whole minute of just my feet, but you get the point. They are true to size for people with narrow to normal feet. But for people like me with wide feet, not only do I have wide feet, I have pronated feet, I have flat feet, I have all the problems because I've been wearing the wrong size. This just isn't gonna cut it, which makes me think, it's kind of getting me excited, maybe I should cop the Nike Vomero 18 icons or the base model in the wide edition, because that's still on the Nike site that I could probably try out. But for now, because I'm stuck with this, unfortunately, this is just too narrow by 0.5, which isn't gonna be a lot of problems to you guys, but for my personal score, that's a big thing. Because I did, honestly, after a while of like, you know, standing too long or walking too long, which I'll get into in a bit on how that felt. When your feet start to expand throughout the day, which is normal, or like get swollen or you get tired, you wanna have enough room in your sneaker to, you know, let it stretch, let it breathe, let it move around freely so that you don't get too much discomfort, which unfortunately I did did somewhat feel in certain situations. The performance as well, which is still part of the comfort category, but I just wanted to put it because of course it's a running sneaker. I actually ran in these for a good bit. And going back to what I was talking about in the versatility section, the outsole of the sneaker is not great when running on wet surfaces because it is fairly slippery. Tried their best trying to copy like tire tracks kind of vibe under it, but it's still, you know, unfortunately very slippery compared to other sneakers when running on even just slightly wet surfaces. Like the other day I ran and it was drizzling a little bit. It wasn't like full on raining, but still it was fairly slippery. I didn't get as much of a grip as I wanted. And as well as the fact that not only is it a narrow sneaker for me, but because the outsole is so squishy, the Zoom X foam cushioning is very great at being responsive and at giving maximum cushion. But sometimes I feel like there's a limit to having too much cushion, which makes me think about the Zoom X React X blend of the previous model or the base model of the Nike Vomero 18. That might be something I might be interested in. But for now, like I was saying, when it comes to uneven surfaces, when I was running, like if I were to do a turn or there's like a little bit of a divot in the road or like a pothole I may or may not see, if I land in that, I did notice sometimes that my foot will kind of like roll into itself because of the cushion of the sneaker. Again, my own foot pronates and is flat-footed, so already I have a disadvantage when I'm running. And I know that this type of sneaker isn't the best sneaker for my foot, but of course I still want to try it just in general, you know. But yeah, other than that, when I was running on a treadmill, which of course is an even surface, when I was running in Singapore, when on the sidewalk, just basically just goes up and down with the curve, that felt fairly good. I didn't really feel any pain in my feet itself of other than, you know, the fatigue of running too long because I'm not an experienced runner. I did feel the effect, the Zoom X cushioning, how responsive it was, how comfortable it was during running, which was pretty amazing to me. And even in walking, for walking, I gave it a 9 out of 10. Because of the same problem, if the flooring is uneven, you still have a tendency to roll. There's not a lot of ankle support either. That's something to think about as well. But still, it's super breathable, great airflow throughout the sneaker. My siblings and I went on the Jurassic Park ride. The only thing that got wet were my new sneakers. And overnight, I just took out the insoles, left them out to dry, and then the next morning they were good to go. No weird wet smell, no dampness whatsoever, just because it's that breathable. And last but not least, the one thing that kind of gave it minus points as well is that even in standing, there were times that it got uncomfortable. When, like for example, we were on a train in Singapore, when we were waiting in lines in Singapore, waiting for our taxi in Singapore. After a whole day of walking and you're just standing, it's kind of hard to just find your footing when your shoe is so soft. You're kind of having extra balancing effort in these sneakers just because of how soft they are. And again, I know it's a running sneaker, you're supposed to run in them, but the reality of it is it'd be nice to just throw on a pair of sneakers, go throughout your day, and you should be fine. That's what I expect from a sneaker that I buy. And yeah, for the most part, the sneaker did do that, but there are still minus points that I need to address. So for comfort, these do get an 8 out of 10. And with that said, the final score of the Nike Vomero 18 Plus for my performance review is a 7.8 out of 10. Still not able to dethrone my king of comfort, the Nike Vomero 5s, but still pretty high. It's probably second right now. I was really hoping that these guys beat the Nike Vomero 5s, but it is what it is. Maybe your score will be different from mine. Maybe I did have opinions that are hit or miss on there, but for now, that is it for the performance review of the Nike Vomero 18 Plus. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think, what's your personal score. I'd love to converse with you guys there. Follow me on Instagram at @AlbiPeralta. I'm a bit more personal there. I post stories almost every day, and I post there when I have a new YouTube video out, so it's one way to get notified. And check out the other videos on my channel. As the banner says, I have anything and everything in between on there. That is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys when I see you. Bye, everyone.